Hello, nerds! This segment that you're about to watch actually comes from the live show. If you want to join in the conversation live, then the place to do that is youtube.com/generallynerdy. So I'm done rambling. Let's get to the clip, shall we? This one is a little bit older. This comes from last week when we didn't do an episode, so we would have talked about this a week ago had we done an episode last week. But it is Zack Snyder's Endgame teaming with Russo's for Marvel vs. DC. This is a rumor, but it ties into this, from what I can see. Anyway, I've been told, not only I being the author of this article, Matt McGloin, who is the operator of Cosmic Book News, you should read the stuff. Also, check out, he has a review site, Stinky Garbage. What was it? Where is it? Stinky Garbage, I think. Cha-cha-cha! Yeah, Stinky Garbage. Go check it out. It's great stuff. Anyway, let's go back to... I hate it when I do that to myself, and I do it all the time. So, there's that. All right, so Marvel vs. DC movie is what this rumor is all about. I've been told not only is the Snyderverse in play for a full return, again, related to what we were just talking about, but there have also been discussions about a Marvel vs. DC project involving the Russo brothers. Quote, they threw around ideas to do a DC Marvel film, said our source, who previously filled us in on the Daredevil Born Again retooling news, the real ending of The Flash, and more. I'll admit, this one is a long shot, but the timing lines up. Here's how. Russos are back at Marvel. The Russos are officially back at Marvel, directing Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Rumors say they'll stay with Marvel after Secret Wars 2 to guide the MCU's direction. At the same time, we are told that Zack Snyder is returning for the Snyderverse, backed by the Saudis who want a Snyder-level event. That's not what that article originally said, to rival Marvel's big Avengers movies. They want an Avengers-level event, is what the quote was. There's no question both franchises were stronger when they were competing. The MCU was at its best with the Russos, and Snyder's DCEU was far more successful than anything DC released after Justice League, which Snyder had no involvement. That's, again, not true. Not the competitive and more successful stuff, but Snyder did have involvement in the Justice League. He filmed about 70% of the movie that we saw. It's just when he had to leave, because I think it was the death of his daughter or something, when he had to leave, they brought Joss Whedon in to finish it, and Joss Whedon butchered the hell out of it and then got canceled. So we don't have to deal with Joss Whedon ever again, which to a certain degree is kind of sad because... Buffy. Also, recall how the Russo brothers interviewed Zack Snyder. They love the guy. I don't remember that, actually, but okay, I'll take your word for it, Cosmic Book. Still told, James Gunn is out once Warner Brothers Discovery sale goes through. The New York Post reports Skydance Paramount is the front runner, in part because of Donald Trump's relationship with CNN's New Direction, and that alone tells you everything about Gunn's future. No, it doesn't. It certainly leans very heavily towards Gunn's future not being with Warner Brothers, should the sale go through in a certain manner, but we don't have any guarantee that the sale is going to go through that way. We don't have any guarantee that they're not going to allow Gunn to stick around, assuming he plays by certain rules. Like, there's a lot of plates in the air with this. There's a lot of factors here. I was told directly, if Skydance Paramount buys Warner Bros. Discovery, Gunn will be forced out if he doesn't resign first. Variety already confirmed Paramount is going MAGA. How does Gunn's divisive DCU fit into that when he's had characters claiming Nazis love Jesus and equating our real world with a Nazi world? It doesn't. They did that in the comics forever ago too, and we came out of that just fine, so I don't understand why the fascination. Again, I do realize the Snyderverse did well, sure, but would it have continued to do well once they finally got into a Batman movie? So the big thing here is Snyder's issues with the source material, while they are not as egregious as Disney's issue with their source material coming from Marvel, they are still pretty bad because we have Superman killing somebody, we have Batman using guns and killing people. Like, these are core tenets of these characters, and if the movie that we got, the Batman versus Superman movie and then the Justice League movie, if those two movies that dealt with Batman directly, well, as a secondary character to a certain degree, if those two movies got that much wrong, like just these core elements of these characters, also Pa Kent told Clark, I guess, not to save people sometimes because he might be found out, instead of the message of you have to learn that you can't save everyone all of the time. It's physically impossible. Like, those are two very different lessons to be doling out to your superpowered child. Like, these are core elements of these characters. So while, yes, there were a lot of things that were monetarily they were doing much, much better, economies change. People are less likely to go to the movies these days for a plethora of reasons. I'm not going to blame COVID for this, because that's not the issue. The issue is people don't have the same amount of expendable income. They don't have the cash in their pocket to justify going to the movies anymore, because the economy was so bad for 4 freaking years, for a little bit over 4 years. Again, that would factor COVID in slightly, but it's more of a political thing. It's more of who was leading the country at the time. We just don't have, collectively, we don't have the money to go out for entertainment. I think if James Gunn had been the one to do it when Snyder did it, and then the roles were reversed and Snyder was the one in charge now, there is a little bit of an argument to be made that Snyder would be still doing better than Gunn is doing, but not as good as he was pre-COVID. Like, there is evidence for this because of the growing faction of people who disliked the Snyderverse for the exact reasons I just laid out, and for many others, because he's kind of a budget, or not really budget Michael Bay, but he is like Michael Bay version 2.0. He has a little bit more understanding of characters, but not much. Anyway, it's kind of long rant for what's going on here. We're just looking too surface level. There's a lot more at play here. There's a lot more reasons why these things are performing the way they are. Also, lost the international audience. Snyderverse China fans return, Gunn Superman flops. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Oops, I did not mean to click on that. Don't do it. We're not reading that article. I apologize. Anyway, there's no doubt why Warner Brothers Pictures dated the Minecraft sequel only 2 weeks after Gunn's Man of Tomorrow in 2027. Which is fair, because Minecraft is going to be a huge sequel. Like, that's undeniable, I feel like. Meanwhile, Snyder posted that Superman Henry Cavill tribute image on Veterans Day. Snyder knows exactly what's happening. Snyder, quote, Snyder has been purposeful. He's posted a Superman tribute with the American flag on Veterans Day, which signals he aligns with certain values, and Gunn didn't, which is surprising for the face of DC, says the source. So, if the Snyderverse returns, which is still, in my humble opinion, a fairly big if. It's not as big as it once was, but it's still fairly big. If the Snyderverse returns, Zack will be able to finish his Justice League storyline, which I legitimately would be intrigued to see, because we got that 5-hour thing that's kind of a slog to watch. It was originally supposed to be 5 Justice League movies, so I wonder if he would make 2 more to kind of iron out some of those issues. Told DC will likely undergo another reboot afterward, presumably under Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, whose WB contracts were just renewed. Gunn's contract has not been renewed, which is another reason why, yes, it does look very heavily like he's on his way out, but we still don't know that for sure. He could sign a contract. He could say, all right, I will play by your rules, boss. Just let me keep making Superman movies. They might let him. We don't know. Even with talk of a reboot, it sounds like Marvel vs. DC isn't dead. It's been floated before, and even Gunn has mentioned the idea. They threw around the ideas to a DC Marvel film, said our source. Even Gunn wanted it. But our sources don't know if Marvel vs. DC is still on the table now that the Russos are steering Marvel's next two Avengers movies, and Snyder is gearing up for his Justice League return. I feel like that's something that could be done as an Elseworlds in the movie world, right? Like, the Amalgamverse exists outside of either universe, and the versus team-ups that they did in the 90s technically exist outside of either universe. I don't know if the newest versus team-up is in universe for anything. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure that's in Elseworlds too. So, like, it would be interesting to see just a random cast of characters play all of the superheroes for one movie. I don't know if they'd still be interested after all this. These movies are emotionally draining, says another source. Snyderverse revival at the same time the Russos reshape Marvel creates a moment fans haven't seen in years. If interest keeps growing and the studios want a guaranteed hit, a Marvel vs. DC crossover becomes a real option. That is a very true statement. It's now up to the people in the room and the fans watching all of it play out. Marvel vs. DC crossover isn't confirmed, but it's still a topic of discussion behind the scenes. I'll have more as I hear it, and there's not been an update to this since, and this came out on the 23rd, so just a couple days before Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.